Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is May the 4th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. We've had a good Sunday. We had a good Saturday night. We'll start with Sunday. I got home like around 7. I had already slept a little bit, but I got home and then I slept some more, which was really nice. I think I woke up, I don't know, around maybe it was around noon or so, something like that. So I didn't get to the grocery store until much later than I wanted to. But I will say I'm happy to be more rested. I think I definitely could always use the sleep, so that was nice. I will say I've noticed a trend now, and I mean, hopefully this doesn't stay this way. But every time I go to the grocery store, like I want to say like almost past 10, towards the afternoon, I lose out on a chance to get the chicken thighs I want. At this point I really would like to eat the boneless chicken thighs. Like even though it doesn't have the skin, I just don't like having to cut the bone out and all that stuff. So I would rather get those, the skinless ones or the skinless boneless ones. Sadly, I wish in a perfect world, they'd have the skin on, bone out. That would be perfect. But here we are. But I was able to get like one of the last packs of the chicken thighs, so I'm not mad, but it was a bone-in one, and I'm like, okay, whatever, fine. That was really the only snag at the grocery store. Other than that, it was good. And I spent more than I wanted to. Of course, it's one of those grocery runs. But hey, it is what it is. After groceries, we went to the gym. Gym went well. I felt like I had not more energy. That's not the word I'm looking for. I didn't have as much. I just wasn't as messed up. Like it was easier for me to kind of come in with the idea of like, hey, I want to lift heavier today. I know normally I would start doing maintenance a little early. I say normally, like I really just kind of got into the groove of this for about a week in terms of this regimen that I'm on. But I was like, yeah, I think I can handle going a little bit heavier today. So, it wasn't my max or anything like that, but it did feel good to get some more reps in, a little bit heavier than I normally would do, and more or less just kind of move through the whole day very well. I don't feel messed up right now, so that's good. Body's not in pain, so we love that. So groceries went pretty good. Gym went well. Here we are back at the house. We're podcasting. Let's rewind though back. Let's talk about last night. Last night was fun. After the podcast, I went down to Northside, got to see the homies. It was a good time. I Food Corner. We went to Chameleon. It's become classic. You know what? I'm really glad to have pizza night. I'm glad that pizza night was not discontinued for too long. I mean, R.I.P. Domino's. We move. Granted, what was it? About a month ago, we had that Domino's pizza. So maybe every once in a while, though. Whew, y'all remember that shit took me out. Like that's too much pizza for me nowadays. But either way, what were the slices last night? We had a veggie, which the veggie was definitely the slice of the night. It was broccoli, mushroom, and then banana peppers. So I was like, okay, all right, I'm fucking with this. This is nice. This is a little crazy. Then I got a slice of pepperoni and a slice of cheese. Now I didn't get the Bianca because I realized, I'm pretty sure I've said this before, I'm not the biggest spinach artichoke guy. That's just me in general. That's my vibe. Don't be wrong. Love spinach, artichokes in general, fine, whatever. I don't really feel strongly about them, but I just don't like spinach artichoke. I don't like it in a dip. I don't like, or as a dip. I don't like it on my pizza. But it's cute. I'm sure it was a good slice, but not for me. So after that, we went to Next Bar, and I decided that I was gonna, put a little extra drop in the tank, and I got a shot of tequila, which was nice. I think it loosened me up a little bit more so than usual. I was just watching my friends play a little bit of pool, talking shit, which I have to add, I do this now, and I do this not just for pool. I do this for bowling. any of these kind of like, little social, little fun things. And it's nice to play with your friends and stuff. But I really would rather spectate these days, especially if I can drink and or eat. It's just so much fun. It makes me feel like I'm like a poolside chilling motherfucker. And I'm just like, yeah, being a little fat cat. I always love doing it. And it beats the alternative, which is me playing said game, doing awful, and then getting like just soft heckled by all the like passerbys and like people watching and stuff. I just always hate it. But like, don't be wrong, every once in a while I'll hop in, I'll play a game of pool or do some bowling, But I do prefer, my default nowadays is just to chill. It's just to come through and do a little bit of chilling. But it was a good time. I also ran into one of my old friends from the movies when I used to work at the movie theater. So we got to talking. Then another person came through and he was talking to us. And the next thing you know, he got us these shots that were like green and kind of like frothy on the top. I was like, I don't know, but like I'm gonna drink it, and I drank it. So now that I'm kind of thinking about it and running this back in my head, I'm kind of realizing how I got loosed up the way I did throughout this night, right? So that was fun. We moved to our last bar, and we get there, and it just I think we realized it was a little too early, so we came back to the house real quick. And then we came back around a little bit later, and there was more people, so that was fun. That was a good vibe. It was good to see everybody, hang out. And during this time at the last bar, I don't know why, but like there's a couple of guys who do like local wrestling. And y'all know I've been watching a little bit more wrestling. My homie, he's always like, watching it. We talk sometimes, we watch some stuff, So I finally asked one of the guys who frequents the bar, who's a wrestler. I'm like, hey man, do you think you could give me a chop, bro? And essentially what that is someone like just slapping you across the chest. Now it's like, meant to look more brutal than it is, but like, I had shied away from this because I'm like, it was giving Fight Club in the parking lot vibes. And I was like, I don't want to do it. That's not me. I'm glad that you did that, homie, but I don't want to do it. But now I'm feeling it. And maybe I'm understanding why I was in this groove to be like, yeah, bro, I'm ready to get chopped. And bro, I got sunned so hard, y'all. Dude literally was like, nah, man, I can't do it. I think he like gave me like a nice answer. Like he kind of sugarcoated it a bit. Like, I would have my friend come through and give you the chop. And I kind of was like, all right, man, no, it's cool. I understand. So, I kind of had to just take the L a little bit there, and I was like, it's okay. It's all good. It's whatever. And then my homie came back around and I told him what had happened. And he's like, bro, I'll chop you if you want. And I was like, you know what? Bet, let's just do this. So he literally just hits me one right across the titty. I was like, ah. But luckily it wasn't too bad. And I was like, all right, well, now I've been chopped. Now I know what it feels like, at least like an entry level kind of situation, like a pow, And, I'm stronger now for it. I don't know, whatever. I realized, like I said, the alcohol might have just been talking in that moment. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. It was a good night. It was a good time. We keep it moving back to homie's house. We're chilling. Dumplings got made. They got like a new Ninja, it cooks it all, like all kinds of ways. It cooks it crazy style. But we had some dumplings, and then also some bagels with the Tillamook cream cheese. Ooh wee. What was it? Strawberry? Yeah, strawberry. And that was really yummy. And then my homie, my G, he busted out the like iced pound cake, and he pulled out 2 plates. And I was like, bro, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm making us some pound cake. I'm like, no. But I will say he did something diabolical, and I loved it. He put on some Tillamook on the pound cake, and I was like, yo, that looks so good. In a perfect world, I would have smashed on that one. But granted, I'm also not the biggest pound cake fan. I don't know. Is that a hot take? Is that controversial? Is that dramatic? Dramatic? No. I'm just not a big pound cake guy, especially. And why is it always lemon? Why do people always make lemon pound cake? I find that gross. I don't like lemon and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. I love a good lemon. I'm gonna suck on the lemon, but like, don't just don't put it in the baked good, please. Don't put it on my pastries. Don't put it in my pastries. I don't like it. I do like an apple pie, but like, not, I don't know. I'm very particular about my fruits, I guess. But, I could definitely eat like a normal, like kind of plain iced pound cake situation, maybe with some cream cheese. Oh, I mean, you don't really have to convince me too much on that. But anyway, didn't eat it. I foregoed. But yeah, that was the night. I kind of crashed at the crib, and got up, and like I said, there's the loop. There we go. But yeah, that was my weekend pretty much. That's where we're at right now. So it's been a good time. I really enjoyed myself. Like I said, we're showing up a little bit later, but it's all good, right? Hopefully it's fine. Hopefully I didn't keep you waiting too long. Anyway, let's go ahead and do our startup and get into some news. Oh yeah, yummy. From the Hill. Netanyahu vows to respond to Houthis and their Iranian terror masters after airport strike. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday vowed to respond against Houthi rebels and their Iranian terror masters after the group fired a missile at Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv. I'm going to fast forward on this article a little bit here. Yemen based Houthi rebels launched a missile that hit close to the main terminal of Israel's biggest airport early Sunday morning. 8 people were injured via the strike, according to Israeli media. In the wake of the strike, Netanyahu called an immediate meeting of his security cabinet. Defense Minister Israel Katz said his country's military would respond. I imagine that we'll probably be getting an update in the near future about their retaliation that they probably intend to have, like they say, sevenfold, which they always tend to exact. But I mean, this is just relevant news in the sense of with Israel and the Iron Dome, it usually will block out these kind of missile strikes like this. Just the defense system is very, very superior, a lot of American money and technology and that, all that, blah, blah, blah. And so whenever something like this happens, it's usually big just because it's like, whoa, how did it penetrate? How did it do so well? So yeah, I figured I'd start off with that. I know we've talked about Israel, a bit of a cluster, back to back, but sometimes we just gotta clock in and talk about it. You know what I mean? But we can go ahead and move along to our next story from Deacon Herald. 3 dead, 14 missing after 2 tourist boats capsized in China. 3 people drowned and 14 others were missing after 2 tourist boats capsized on a river in Guizhou, I'm going to say Guizhou province on Sunday. Official media reported. The tourist boats capsized on a river in Guangxi City, leaving 3 people dead and 14 others missing. State-run Xinhua, I'm going to say Xinhua, news agency reported. As many as 60 people have been hospitalized for treatment, the report said. President Xi Jinping urged all-out efforts to search for those falling into water and treat the injured. So yeah, this was a story that was a little bit obscure. I was just kind of looking for some boat news. I was trying to track down a story, which unfortunately I couldn't really find. If I do get it, I might come back and try to talk about it. But in the process of doing so, I found that story, and then also another boat-related story, which I feel like that was kind of a weird trend that I wound up covering. I feel like over the past, week cycle of we've kind of had a little bit of boat coverage, you know what I mean? And y'all know me. Whenever I start seeing or feeling a pattern, I gotta yap about it, just like when there's a bunch of trains or it's a bunch of planes. And are boats on the menu this year? I mean, we're still, what is it? And we're Q1, so our boat's gonna be but hey, I know these things happen all the time. I'm just kind of looking at patterns where they just pop up, but that doesn't mean anything. Like I said, I'm just yapping a yap sometimes, y'all. What can I say? Anyway, let's get back to the boats. From CBS News. 32 people rescued after a 63-foot boat takes on water near Miami Beach, authorities say. 32 people were rescued after their boat began to take on water near Miami Beach on Saturday evening, authorities said. Around 5:05 p.m., Miami Beach police responded to reports of a compromised 63-foot vessel near 22 Star Island Drive and Flagger Monument Island. We got a call for a passenger vessel between Monument and Star Island with 32 souls on board, said 911 dispatch. Go ahead and start Fireboat 21 as well. Upon arrival, Marine Patrol units immediately began rescue efforts, police said, but called in backup because the excessive amount. Multiple agencies, including the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission and the U.S. Coast Guard, assisted in the rescue. Miami Beach Police and Miami-Dade Fire Rescue both confirmed to the CBS News Miami that everyone on board was taken off the boat and assessed for injuries by Miami Beach Fire Department. According to a social media post from the USCG, all 32 did not suffer any, all 32 people did not suffer any injuries. So that's good. I don't know exactly what the model was. They are kind of dubbing this as a Lamborghini vessel. We also don't know what caused the boat to capsize, though I did hear like at some point you could like see the water, the vessel like kind of sticking up. So I guess almost like going like I forget what it is, what's the terminology or whatever. But you know, it was sinking pretty bad. There you go. And obviously in the thumbnail you see that like more or less I think almost over half of the boat is just in the water. So that's not good. That's not where you want the boat. You want the boat on top. Unless it's kind of doing some crazy submersible shit or whatever, you know? But that being said, it was a little fancy little thing, and sadly, I guess it ruined some people's weekends or whatever. Excuse me, Wah. But good that no one was hurt. More or less, it was just a scary inconvenience. So in that regard, a little bit of good news in that way. But you know, if I do find out any details on what caused this boat to capsize, if I do find out any more details on the other story we just covered, with you know the tourists or what have you, then you know we'll come back to that. You know, a lot of boat stories swimming around in the air. Oh, that's not how that works. Anyway, we're gonna close out with a recall. We got to talk about some fruits, or is it a vegetable? I don't know. You pick. You tell me. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our last break, and we will finish this thing. I don't know. Oh, this is random, but one of the things I've been doing over the past few days is asking everyone what is your favorite go-to McDonald's breakfast order. So if you made it this far, before we close out, sound off in the comments. Or you can just hit me up. You don't have to, you know, do it for the algo. That's fine. I am generally interested. I was literally at the bar just asking all the homies or random people, what do you order? And, you know, I don't know, maybe individually I might share like, you know, some of my findings, some of my observations. But yeah, no, I generally just love hearing people's answers to questions. I like asking questions. I've always been that way since I was a kid. So, yeah, what is your go-to McDonald's breakfast order? And if you don't fuck with McDonald's, that's A-okay, that's fine. That's a good thing. Just tell me what your go-to breakfast order would be from wherever your like favorite drive-through style situation or, you know, what have you. I don't know. I just like knowing those things. I might try to ask more questions like that. You know, just whenever they kind of come to mind or what I've been doing them. But yeah, let me go ahead and sip on this thing and then we'll close it. Oh yeah. From Local 12. Tomatoes recalled from 11 states, including Ohio, for salmonella contamination. Yuck. I added the yuck, sorry. One brand of tomatoes was recalled from 11 states, including Ohio, due to possible salmonella contamination, a dangerous organism that can cause serious and sometimes fatal infections. The recall was issued by Ray and Mascari, Incorporated, through the Food and Drug Administration on May 3rd and concerns 4-count vine ripe tomatoes packaged in clamshell containers. 20 ounce, 1 pound, 4 ounce, 567 gram. Okay, I'm getting into all the weeds of the numbers. We're going to skip that. The product was recalled by Ray and Mascari Incorporated, or was recalled after Ray and R&M, we're just going to say R&M Incorporated, was notified by one of its suppliers that one of its facilities had possibly been contaminated with salmonella, which could have also infected the tomatoes. We'll describe salmonella here. An organism is an organism which can cause serious and sometimes fatal infections in young children, frail or elderly people, and others with weakened immune systems. Healthy persons infected with salmonella often experience fever, diarrhea, which may be bloody, nausea, vomiting, and abdominal pain. In rare circumstances, infection with salmonella can result in the organism getting into the bloodstream and producing more severe illnesses, such as arterial infections or infected aneurysms, endocarditis, and arthritis. Those who purchase the product should discard the tomatoes immediately. I'd also add, and I like to add this, try to get your bag back on that. Tell them, hey, I don't want this salmonella ass fucking tomatoes. Give me my fucking refund or exchange. I bought tomatoes, so just give me tomatoes, please, that aren't covered in salmonella, please. But yeah, closing out with a little bit of a tomato. Y'all know I am about my tomatoes, so we have to talk about that. We definitely had to cover that recall for sure. But that'll be it. That'll be the episode. I kind of shilled a little bit there, a couple minutes ago. Disregard it. I don't like to shill on Sundays. Y'all know that. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.